Ephesus has had a long tradition of being a center of religious pilgrimage. The earliest pilgrims arrived to worship the Anatolian goddess known as Cybele. Later, this deity merged with the Greek goddess Artemis and was venerated at the Great Artemis Sion, attracting the pilgrims from all over the Mediterranean region. These ancient cults of female deities were later echoed in the worship of Saint Mary, Mother of Jesus, that supposedly spent the last years of her life in Ephesus. According to this tradition, Mary arrived at Ephesus together with Saint John and lived there until her Assumption, according to the Catholic doctrine, or Dormition, according to the Orthodox beliefs.
Ephesus ancient city ruins. On Turkey's Aegean coast, near the popular coastal resort of Kusadasi, sits the Ephesus ancient city ruins, a marvelous testament to extensive work of historians and archaeologists over many centuries. It portrays magnificence, leaves people speechless, and shows evidence of forwarding thinking, intelligence, and the Roman Empire's confidence. Indeed, Ephesus should be on everyone's bucket list when they visit Turkey. As visitors walk around the excavated and reconstructed structures, it is easy to connect the dots. The ancient ruins of Ephesus portray how Romans lived their lives, from the water aqueducts, terraced houses, and public latrines, used by wealthy and influential citizens of society. The biblical significance of Ephesus. The ancient city of Ephesus is a favorite destination of tourists visiting Turkey because of its breathtaking ruins and significant historical and religious significance. Roman rule contributed towards Ephesus's fame and significance, but a turning point was when the local council persecuted many citizens turning to the new religion. Hence they met in secret. Biblical characters like Paul, John, and the Virgin Mary also visited the city.
They have to keep the fire alive at all times. So that year, it's a new government, right? So local people here, they had to work harder than ever, and they had to pay really high taxes. It was not a good idea because Roman people, they just got here from Rome, so they were vulnerable. But when they hear the new crown made out of laurel leaves, in our left hand you see, same crown you can see in the Olympics today again. She is the only goddess with wings other than Eros, because they believe that victory, it could happen anytime. It could be
Euphrates Street is one of the main thoroughfares of Ephesus. It leads from the Library of Celsus to the Hercules Gate, extending along a northwest-southeast axis, in the saddle between the Panayır and Bulbul Hills. Euphrates Street can be considered the link between two main areas of Ephesus, the political and the commercial one. After leaving the lower Agora, the walk uphill along this street takes the visitors to the vicinity of the upper Agora, the political heart of ancient Ephesus. Its strategic location meant that Euphrates Street's role was not only purely practical as the communication link between two parts of Ephesus. It was also a part of the processional route that was followed to celebrate the city's chief goddess, Artemis. Finally, similarly to the Arcadian, Euphrates Street played the role of an ostentatious boulevard, created to impress the visitors and show off the wealth of Ephesus. Ephesus city's state Agora. The 4th century state Agora, built under the rule of Alexander the Great, was a business capital where state heads converged to discuss business matters. The ruins that stand now are not the original structure but remains of the restored Agora under the efforts of Faustina, the wife of Marcus Aurelius. Although used for commerce and trade, they found a terracotta sarcophagus on site, suggesting that a necropolis existed in the 7th and 6th centuries BC. Aside from a necropolis, a discovered water reservoir supplied water to Ephesus. Roman terrace houses at Ephesus. Although the ancient ruins of Ephesus have many historical landmarks to boast about, a highlighted and most celebrated of recent years is the Roman terrace houses. Sitting on the Bulbul mountain slope, they belonged to wealthy citizens who used slaves to clean and maintain their immaculate homes. The interior floor and wall mosaics are why they have taken center stage, and they are marvelous artifacts depicting how rich people lived. The Library of Celsus in Ephesus, Turkey was a magnificent ancient Roman library, constructed in the 2nd century AD and commissioned by Tiberius Julius Celsus Ptolemaios' son to honor his father. While the original interior was destroyed by an earthquake, the surviving, heavily decorated facade is a well-preserved example of ancient architecture and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is notable for its intricate design, which included a capacity for over 12,000 scrolls and an optical illusion to make it appear wider than it was. The ancient Celsius Library. Sitting at the end of the main street, the majestic Celsius Library was one of 3 sizable ancient world libraries. Holding 12,000 scrolls, it was a pinnacle point in the social life of philosophers and creative artisans. Built to honor the Roman senator of the same name, his tomb was underneath. It is because of extensive restoration work that took place for 8 years in the 70s that we can see the library's front facade because a 3rd century earthquake demolished it. Seeing the Celsius Library portrays how important wisdom was to Romans, prompting them to store information in public buildings all over their empire. So necessary was knowledge to them that the architecture and foundation were well planned out. The Library of Celsus is probably the most distinctive building commonly associated with Ephesus. The library has a 2-story facade, and its interior is one large room with dimensions of 10.90 to 16.70 meters. This library room was located above the vaulted substructure. The building was surrounded by an additional wall, offering adequate protection from moisture. When looking closely at the remains of the library, 2 rows of niches located on the inner side walls and rear wall of the building can be seen. It is known that originally there was the 3rd row. The manuscripts were stored on shelves placed in these niches. Access to the scrolls placed on the upper floors was made possible by a 2-story gallery running along 3 sides of the library. The largest, central niche, decorated with a big arch, served as the place where once stood the statue of the goddess Athena. The 2-story structure was supported by 4 pairs of columns, between which there were 3 entrances to the building. At the level of the 2nd floor 3 windows were placed, illuminating the reading room. The statues adorning the facade of the Library of Celsus represent the 4 virtues: Sophia, wisdom; arete, bravery; episteme, knowledge; and enoia, thought.
Grand Theater of Ancient Ephesus. The most breathtaking piece of architecture in Ephesus is the Great Theater, erected on the slope of Mt. Pion, towering over the city at 100 feet with a capacity of a massive 25,000 people. The Apostle Paul used it to preach the gospel to Ephesians and condemn pagan worship. It was also the venue for political, religious, and philosophical discussions, gladiator fights, plays, and concerts. Its most famous event, though, was the Artemis riots that took place there. In Christianity's early days, many people that had not converted were still worshiping gods, of which one was Artemis, goddess of fertility. Demetrius was a silversmith who sold Artemis figures, but because of St. Paul's preaching, his sales were diminishing. He incited a crowd who gathered in the theater demanding recognition of Artemis. St. Paul's friends begged him to go away from the congregation, since they were in no mood to listen. But an intelligent city clerk calmed them down and urged them to follow the law by protesting to the courts.
Quickly, fast, come on. Take it, bye. Take your Okay, this is for you, yes, ma'am. Okay, here, take it.
There's nothing there.
I don't know, where's your coat? Check your pocket. Can I check your pocket?
I don't have
No,
anything
okay,
in my pocket.
come on. Okay, here, go. This is bad. Please, okay. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. What's your name, man? Sandra. Just try this. Come on.
Can I have a napkin? With my jelly?
Okay, here.
At some point, yes.
Try. Come here, please. Just no, just ask, please. We can eat. Come on.
No.
No, promise.
Because you're gonna
No. Come on.
You're not gonna trick me.
Artemis Temple near Ephesus. The 7th century BC Artemis Temple of Artemis, built under King Croesus of Lydia's reign, was a place of worship to Artemis, the Greek goddess of hunt and wilderness, who was also the twin of Apollo. Except for its roof, the marble temple succeeded the Parthenon's grandiosity. It was a sanctuary for beautiful pieces of art. Much of those were sculptures by the famous Greek artists Chrysalis, Phidias, and Polykleitos. The wealthy citizens of Ephesus also donated extravagant pieces of jewelry, silver, and gold to adorn the temple, but in 356 BC, a young man named Herostratus burned down the magnificent building.
And you can see here a lot of cocoons who are connected to that one thread, and it breaks sometimes. It happens. Now you see it better. Did you know silk is the strongest fiber on the planet?
Yeah.
If you did read about history of Egypt, they were cutting marbles of the pyramids with silk threads.
Wow.
You know that?
I didn't know that.
Nobody knows that if they don't read that. I did read by accident.
They did, okay.
Because if you think